I hate when I procrastinate, and I bet you do too. It is such a drain. You feel like, you waste your time. You spend more energy thinking about how you didn't do what you were going to do and feeling guilty. And it just becomes a vicious cycle because then you feel guilty and then you keep putting it off, you keep procrastinating, and then you start doing things that are the opposite of what you want to do. Ah, it's crazy. And here is what has been working. And it is probably going to be shocking to a person who has this problem. But I have been developing what is sometimes known as a bias toward action. I think I first heard this in the book, The Magic of Thinking Big. And it took me literally years to get this. But I think the problem is that a lot of advice talks about how, if you make an excuse, like I don't have time, I can't afford it, any of those things, then it's not because those excuses are a reality, but it's because you're not making it a priority in your life. Which I get that, and that is true, but I think the problem with advice that stops there is that it makes you feel bad about yourself when you're a person who struggles to take action. And so when you get that advice, then you just pretty much turn it back on yourself and you say, well, I suck because I'm not making this a priority. I need to make a priority, when in fact it is important to you, but it's just that you cannot make yourself take the action. And so here is what has been working for me. I have a thought about something that I quote unquote should do, and then I immediately do it. I know, it's so crazy. Like, what? Well, this is based on a few things that I've incorporated into my life, and the first thing has been Mel Robbins' The 5 Second Rule. In her book, The 5 Second Rule, she talks about how anything you want to do, so as soon as you get the thought to do something that's going to move you toward a goal or something that you want for yourself, just in life, relationships, business, health, whatever, just count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then do that thing. And the reason is because if you don't, your brain is wired to talk you out of that thing. Okay. And there's tons and tons of science and research that backs this up. Now, the second thing that I've been doing is actually setting myself a goal that is a trigger goal, or it is a snowball effect kind of goal. So for me, I know that I am way more productive if I get up at 5 a.m. So I set a goal that would help me to do a lot of other things that I wanted to do in my life. So my goal is to get up at 5 a.m. And I set myself up for this goal by using a very easy tactic that anybody can do, which is I moved my alarm away from my bed. Again, not earth shattering, right? And then the third thing I did to increase my bias toward action is I should have written this down. Okay, so the third thing, which is probably the most important thing, was that I changed my mindset about change. And I could go on forever about this point, about this one bullet point, but I will just focus on the fact that a lot of times when we think about how we're going to change, and some of us visualize about our change, even we see ourselves doing it, but we set our expectations way wrong for it. We imagine that we're going to just like the alarm's going to go off at 5 o'clock and we're going to just like stretch and all the birds are going to be singing and the sun is going to be shining and we're just going to like skip out of bed and like go and make our coffee and da 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 da. And it's like, no, not if you don't get up at 5 a.m. every day. No, it's not going to be like that. And so I realized that when I decided to get up at 5 a.m. and by the way, I have tried this many, many times and failed before finally understanding this nuance, which is I had to. set realistic expectations for how I was going to feel as I go through the process of making the change. And the fact is that whenever you're making significant change, it sucks at first. It's so hard. But something that I came up with is you have to sometimes go through the suck to get to the success. And it's like, okay, tomorrow morning, the alarm's going to ring and I'm going to want to throw the alarm across the room. I'm going to get out of bed. I'm going to feel tired. I'm going to feel crappy. I'm not going to want to get up. But you know what? You're going to get out of bed and you're going to stay up. And the funny thing is, no, I didn't feel magically better because I had that expectation, but because I was ready for it, because it didn't catch me off guard, I was able to just handle it. I was like, oh yeah, this is what I expected. I'm just moving forward. And by doing this every day, for what research has recently said was 66 days to make a habit stick, you know, when you get used to it, then the good feelings will come. Yes, so I'd like to know, have you ever made a significant change after failing a bunch of times? Have you ever managed to stop procrastinating on something? What did you do? Or, what is one thing that you could apply these three tips to in your own life? I'd really love to know. It would help me out, and I hope this video has helped you, and have a great day.